In this example, I say, suppose that 1,000 rand is deposited into a bank account. 1 month later, a further 1,000 is deposited into the account, and then a further 1,000 1 month after this. If the interest rate is 6% per annum compounded monthly, how much will have been saved after the 2 months? So, very important to take note that this is a 2-month period, but there's 1,000 rand, another 1,000, and another 1,000 that was deposited into this account. The interest rate is 6%. Let's discuss this problem and let's see how to do this one. Now, in this example, we've made 3 payments over a 2-month period. Now, so that this makes more sense and to understand and to get a picture of this, I want to advise you always, when you are dealing with annuities, that you draw a timeline. Let me show you how. So, we draw a line, which we refer to as a timeline. We start with T0, that is the now. The T0 represents today. Then we've made another payment at T1 and at T2. Now, as you can see, this represents 2 months. You can see month 1, month 2, 2 months. Now, if I look at this example that we just read, you will notice that they said that 1,000 was deposited. So like immediately. So at this T0, there was 1,000 rand deposited into the account. A month later, another 1,000, and a month later, another 1,000. So as you can see, even if it's a 2-month period, 3 payments were made into this account. So how will we now calculate what we're going to have available after the 2-month period? Now, what we're going to do is, because there are only 3 payments, therefore we can still do it, we're going to treat it as compound interest. So this first 1,000 rand, so I'm going to work with every payment individually. So this first 1,000 rand, I'm going to calculate that 1,000 rand using compound interest 1 plus I over 12. Please remember it's over 12 because the compounding is monthly. Remember the I was 0.06. It was 6%. So that I, we can say 0.06. And now I need to put down how many months, because divided by 12, no, it's per month. So now I take this amount and I want to invest it for this period. So what we say is I want to grow this amount for 2 months up to this point. So that will be the exponent of 2. And I'm going to calculate that answer, which we will do now. The second problem I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this 1,000 rand. That 1,000 rand, and I'm going to invest this 1,000 rand, as you can see, for 0.06 over 12 for a 1-month period, because it will only be invested for 1 month, and it will give us an answer. And then I'm going to look at the third deposit that I've made. So please remember, the example said that there were 3 deposits. The one now, a month later, a month later. So I'm going to grow every one of them. Now this last deposit, 0.06 over 12, for how long will this one be in the bank? Basically for 0 months, because we're going to pay this deposit and then we're going to ask what the total amount was. So as you will agree with me, because any base to the exponent of 0 becomes 1 times 1,000, this answer we don't need to calculate by calculator because it's quite obvious it will stay 1,000. There will not be interest on this amount because you will pay it in and then it will pay out. Now we quickly want to calculate these 2 amounts. Let's use our calculators. So I'm going to do this one. I say 1,000, and now I'm going to use my bracket buttons, and I say 1 plus, and I open up the fraction to put that one on, 0.06, and I go down and I put the 12 in. I go away to the right, I put the bracket in, and now I need to raise it to that power of 2, and that button is just below the arrow key. I put a 2, and I say equal, and my answer will be 1010 rather, comma 03. I'm rounding it off now to 2 decimals because this is money. 03, comma 25. If I calculate the second one, I say 1,000 rand, 1 plus 0.06. The 12, I close the bracket, I raise it to the power of 1, and my answer on the dot will be 1,005. Now, if we add these amounts, I think you will agree with me, it's very easy to add them. We will get to 3,000 rand. We're strictly speaking supposed to add the cents first, and then we will get a 5 rand, a 1, that is the 15, and then the 3,000. So 3,015 rand and 3 cents. So that is what our investment will be worth after a 2-month period. Now, that is basically to show you what a future value annuity is all about. It is when I'm going to make monthly payments. So every payment is basically compound interest. So you need to do this. You can see the exponents 0, 1, 2, and it continue like that. Imagine if we say 5 years. Then it means there will be 60 payments of this nature. So that means we're going to have 60 problems. And if you go for a 10-year period, 12 months in a year times by 10, 120. And if you look at long-term investments, we call it, a 20-year period, and you agree it becomes an impossible task. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the same problem with you as we just did using compound interest, but I'm going to use now the future value annuity formula. There is a formula for future value annuities, which means you don't need to do it all the time like this. I wanted you to see exactly what it means. But when you know this is a future value annuity formula, then you can use the one formula to calculate the same answer. So let's use now this formula, and we do this question one more time.